Is Arnie Slot 90 minutes away from the sack? That's what it certainly feels like. This is Reds Down Under, your podcast born in Liverpool, which you can probably tell by my voice, and made here in Australia. We're the podcast that tries to give you a voice as much as we can, whether you're in Australia or whether you're around the world. We're all over social media, Instagram, all that sort of stuff. All your socials, you can find us there. Jump on there and join in the conversation. This week's podcast, we'll be looking at those two defeats against Galatasaray and, well, it was a draw against Tottenham, but it felt like a defeat, didn't it? So we'll be talking about that. And we'll also have a snippet of our upcoming special, which comes out next week with Neil from the Anfield Wrap. Enjoy the pod.
This is the Reds Down Under podcast, the best place to follow the Reds in Australia. Enjoy the show.
We are the Reds Down Under, and this is our podcast.
Well, it was a week. It was a week, and we've had plenty of them, haven't we? Reds. Liverpool went to Istanbul to Galatasaray in what we knew was going to be a really tricky game, because the first game that we played in the group stages was really tough, and obviously we came out of there with a defeat, and we all sort of hoped that the manager and the team would be better equipped to go into that game with a bit of confidence, knowing that they sort of knew how the atmosphere was going to be, how Galatasaray might play. And Liverpool started the game really well. Flo Wirtz had two great chances really early on, and Liverpool could have very easily been 2-0 up in the first couple of minutes, and the press from Liverpool was really good. It was aggressive. We were pushing Galatasaray back and we were causing mistakes. But that didn't last for long, and we sort of reverted back to this sort of lackluster, low-intensity football, which obviously isn't serving us very well at the moment. Now, we were talking about who we thought might play on the left wing in Istanbul, and I said that Cody Gakpo would probably be my pick because he's experienced, because he's obviously comfortable in that position, and that's the sort of player that you want in these sort of games where you're playing against the opposition's fans just as much as you are playing against the 11 men in front of you. The manager went with Flo Wirtz, and as I say, Flo started the game well. He had two chances, and to be honest with you, he probably should have put at least one of them to bed. Galatasaray go and get their goal. I mean, look, if you want to point fingers from the set piece, the ball is won, and there's no player for Liverpool attacking the second ball, and if you're going to point a finger, it would be at Ekitike, whose job would be to sort of hunt down that ball. And Galatasaray get the goal, and there was moments in the game for Liverpool. We had the disallowed goal, which we know the rules, don't we? If it hits a hand and ends up going in the goal, they disallow it. But to me, it did actually look like Virgil van Dijk was being held back in that sequence of play, and Liverpool very could have easily had a penalty, but of course we did not get a penalty. And I think, just generally speaking, the refereeing was really, really poor in that game. And sorry, you know, we know that you're going to get bad refereeing decisions, and I try not to point the finger at the referees as much as I can, and I try and look at Liverpool's performance and what Liverpool could have done better. And the refereeing was really poor, really, really poor, and there was a lot of decisions made that were just mind-boggling. Like, the Galatasaray player goes down, he gets treatment, he's supposed to go off the pitch, he doesn't, he stays on, and to add insult to absolutely no injury at all, he ends up taking the set piece, which was just absolutely bonkers. But look, Kanate was like the invisible man, wasn't he? Because you knew he was there, but you didn't quite know what he was doing. Didn't know what he was up to. He was swinging legs at balls. He wasn't getting anywhere near it. He was poor, but again, it's one of them. When Liverpool are poor, there's a whole host of players who are poor. It wasn't just Ibrahim in that game. And look, we've got the second leg, which we'll talk about in a bit, but a really huge game. But yeah, look, Liverpool were poor. Were really, really poor, and I felt sorry for our mate Matty, who is a big supporter of the podcast, and he went over there on a big trip to Istanbul, and he sent in footage which we're putting together as a reel, so we'll release that before the Champions League game this week. And I just felt sorry for him and the other Reds who've gone all that way and had to watch that performance. But it's not all over yet in the Champions League, but Liverpool definitely need to step up, don't they? Okay, so on to Spurs, and Liverpool went into the game knowing that there was some really good results actually that went our way in the top 4 hunt, and it was a real opportunity for Liverpool to kick on. And we said on Countdown to Kick Off with Harry that, let's turn this camera around here so I can see myself. We said on Countdown to Kick Off, it's going to be a game of moments, and it was a game of moments. And Liverpool obviously play Rio Engamoa on the left. He got his first Premier League start, and he was fantastic. I know he got man of the match in the game, or player is the match, but he was brilliant. And I think you could see Liverpool's over-reliance on Rio, because he got the ball at every opportunity that they could get the ball to him. Liverpool had a lot of quality on the pitch. I thought Rio was fantastic, and I think he's really put himself in a position where he should be starting more games, more regular. I don't think there's any doubt in that now. Let's talk about Szoboszlai. Play the new jingle. Ooh, Szoboszlai. That free kick was sensational. And he can hit the different ones, can't he? He can hit that sort of knuckleball like he did against Arsenal, like he did against City. And he can also hit like a nice, cute little bender. And I thought the goalkeeper should have done better, but it's a great free kick. And he scored 5 now in all competitions this season, and 4 in the Premier League, I believe. So they're unbelievable numbers from Szoboszlai. And, we obviously lost Trent in the summer, and Trent was a fantastic dead ball specialist, but Szoboszlai is arguably just as good. But unfortunately, around Szoboszlai, I think confidence is really low in the team, and Liverpool's performance was not great whatsoever. And, it's sort of like, have you seen that scene in Crocodile Dundee where Mick's walking and this geezer comes up to him with a knife, and Mick gets his big knife out and goes, "That's not a knife, this is a knife." That's what Liverpool feel like. Not Mick Dundee. We feel like the geezer with the little blade. We are just not set up to be in the fight. And I think Tottenham showed fight in the game. They didn't show a lot of quality, but they showed fight. But they created chances, and Liverpool are giving far too many chances away. And when your quality isn't quite performing at the level that we all hope they can, you need to level it. You need to level the playing field with aggression, with intensity. And look, that wasn't there. And to be honest, Richarlison should have had a hat-trick on the day, and Liverpool had this moment where Spurs were actually on the attack late on, and we went on the counter, and Ekitike plays a killer of a pass for Chiesa. Chiesa gets it back to him, and Ekitike can't put it in. But then there was another similar moment where Salah had the chance to put the ball through to Ekitike, I think it was, and it's just a dire pass. And this is where Liverpool are. We're not creating enough opportunities. We're letting too many opportunities go against us, and that puts you under amazing stress on both sides of the field. So really, really disappointing. What else have I got in here? Oh, the manager leaving Salah and Ekitike on the bench I thought was really interesting, because even though it was a must-win game for Liverpool, I think he's looked at it and gone, I really, really need to win against Galatasaray. I really need to win against Galatasaray for himself, just as much as anything. And, you know, we play Galatasaray this week, and it'll be a very sort of different fixture than the one that was in Istanbul for sure. You know, we know that there's no away fans in this fixture for Galatasaray, and I think that'll have an effect because they're a noisy bunch. I've been to Anfield when we've played Galatasaray there. I was there when Peter Couch scored the overhead kick. We beat them 3-2. But they're a noisy bunch, and the fact that they won't have them at Anfield might have a big effect on the game. Now, I would start Rio, Ekitike and Salah in that game, no doubt. Ekitike's a no-brainer. I think Salah plays because of his, in a way, his aura that he can bring into the game. And if Salah hits any sort of form in the game, then he can have a big effect. And for me, Rio is just, he should be as close to a nailed-on starter as what we've got in the squad at the moment based on form. I would look to play Vert in the midfield, and I would drop Frimpong in at right back, and I'd put Szoboszlai in the midfield with Gravenberg and go Gravenberg, Vert and Szoboszlai. And that means McAllister drops out, but for me, McAllister just hasn't been at it. Now, I think that if Liverpool go out against Galatasaray this week, I genuinely do believe that the club will have to make a decision on the manager. You know, I think a lot of us are frustrated. I said a couple of weeks ago, you know, I've got like 3% patience for this manager at the moment, and I think if Liverpool crash out of the Champions League, I think it could be the end of slot, and I want him to turn it around. I really do. But I look at it at the minute and I think, wow, if he can turn this around, he's some manager. He's some manager. He's a better manager than we know if he can turn this around. And this is going to be the greatest test for him. Never mind winning that league title last season. It's about trying to finish in the Champions League spots this season. It's about getting Liverpool through this Galatasaray game and having a run and getting through City in the FA Cup. I think if Liverpool lose against Galatasaray, I wouldn't be surprised if that the next time we see you, Liverpool might have an interim manager. I really wouldn't be surprised, and I don't know if Liverpool would make a full-time appointment between now and the end of the season. The talk is that the club is steadfastly with Arne Slot, but look, if we go out the Champions League, that might be a different kettle of fish. Liverpool have to win it. I do think we'll qualify. I do think we'll go through against Galatasaray. But I think a lot of that is this Liverpool-ness in me that makes me think that Liverpool can do anything if they put their minds to it. And to be honest, that's what I'm sort of harping on for us to get through that game. It's not talking about the quality of Ekitike and Vert and Salah. It's the Anfield effect. So we'll see what happens with that. Couple of bits of news. Alisson Becker signs a new deal. Bish bash bosh. He gets his extension, which is amazing. He's still one of the best goalkeepers in the world, without doubt. And he's been the best goalkeeper I've ever seen in a Liverpool shirt, without doubt. So, unbelievable. Ali signs a new deal. And Liverpool have brought back their, what are they calling it, throwback range or whatever they're calling it, the 95, 96 green away stuff. It's absolutely gorgeous. It really is gorgeous. And to be honest with you, I was looking at getting the away shirt and I looked online and it's $190 for a shirt. And I thought, I don't think I want to pay that. You can buy the brand new home shirt for $120. So I'm a bit like, and I'm not having a pop at Liverpool directly because, you know, they're a business and I get that. But like these football clubs have all got to get their heads together a little bit here and start thinking, you know what, we need to start looking after these fans a little bit more because there's been so much hype about this new away gear or the old away gear that they've re-brought out. It's the thing to have. but the pricing on it really does price out a lot of working class people. And let's be honest, it's tough out there at the minute, Reds. Things are expensive, rent's expensive, schooners are expensive. So, look, I'm not having a pop at Liverpool, but, have a think about it. How much money do you and Adidas need? You know what I mean? Sort us out. Next Tuesday, we've got the Anfield Wrap special that we did with Neil. And that's going to be like an hour-long special. So that'll come out next Tuesday in place of the weekly show. Unless we need to do a quick podcast because something might have happened with the manager. So that comes out next week, and we talk about loads of stuff. We talk about, the best places to go around Anfield for a pint, away days, some memories from going the game. We get a little bit of behind the scenes info about what it's like making the Anfield Wrap. And really interesting podcast. So I really hope you enjoy that. And if you sent in questions for Neil, there's a good chance that we ask the questions because we put a couple of them in there as well. So that comes out next Tuesday. We'll be, or certainly I'll be, in Sydney for the Anfield Wrap show on Sunday the 22nd. So I'll be there for that, and I'll also be going for a pint to watch the game against Brighton. I think it's Brighton as well. So if you're about, do give us a shout, and we'll get together. So here is our snippet with Neil from the Anfield Wrap. And when we were kids, my dad would talk about the Liverpool way, the Liverpool way. What does it mean to you?
It's bullshit.
What?
People only talk about the Liverpool way when things aren't going well. Like, if people start to talk about the Liverpool way now, I'm even more concerned about the position that Liverpool are in. People used to talk about the Liverpool way, and listen, we used to do it on the Anfield Wrap. It used to come up under, the back end of Kenny's time in charge, Rodgers, whether or not X, Y, or Z was the Liverpool way. No one talked about the Liverpool way when Jurgen Klopp was manager. No one did. No one talks about it anymore. It completely passed away as a conversational point because we were winning, and there was not a new way of doing things. There was just a good way of doing things, some of which will have lots in common with the way Liverpool used to do things in the past. But, I think there's a conversation about what you want Liverpool Football Club to be culturally more off the pitch than on it. But, what is the Liverpool way? Well, Jurgen Klopp's teams would often finish top of the Fair Play League. Graham Souness would break people's jaws. What is the Liverpool way? What does that actually mean? Both of these teams were successful. If you want to say maybe the Liverpool way is that players are aggressive and they get up and get after the opposition and all of that sort of stuff, well, how does that differ from what Everton supporters want? It's like when people say of Newcastle, the thing about Newcastle is they really love a number 9, as though there's football supporters around the country who go, you know what, I'm not that into strikers who score loads of goals. It's nonsense. It doesn't mean anything. And I think that the Liverpool way thing becomes back. And if you're not careful, you end up sounding like Manchester United. I've loved United consistently getting back into every conversation that is had has to be about what truly is or isn't Manchester United. You only start doing that when you're not winning. The more you're not winning, the more that stuff comes up. The more that stuff comes up all the time. When you're winning, no one asks what the Liverpool way is. So I'm very strongly of the view, as I say, no one asked whether or not Jurgen Klopp was a follower of the Liverpool way, or what he was doing was the Liverpool way, or the way in which he wanted to replay the game against Tottenham after there was the incident with Diaz was the Liverpool way. No one mentioned it. It never came up. So I'm very much of the view that you do that stuff when you're worried about the culture is when you begin to talk endlessly about the culture. When you've got a good culture and you're in the flow of that culture, you don't even think about it because things are good and things are positive and the football club's successful. I want a successful football club, so I don't want to have to dwell on, and these are great men, by the way, in so many ways, but I don't want to have to dwell on what made Shankly particularly special, because I want to go and watch Liverpool play and I want to watch Liverpool win. I want to watch the club be really, really successful. And the more you do that navel gazing stuff, as I say, it's important to have things that make your club special. That's not my point. And I think that Liverpool is the most special football club in the world. But I think you get tangled up if you're not careful in trying to take lessons from the past, which may or may not have validity, but are mostly down to doing the right thing in the right moment. And you've got to assess that moment and then go and do the right thing.
Okay, Neil, so what I'm trying to ask is, what do you think the Liverpool way is?
So there you go. That full pod will come out next week. That was just a wee little snippet, you know. Wet the lips a little bit for you. Oh, I shouldn't have said that. I meant something else. Um, and yeah, I wanted to thank our partners, Cheers Bar as ever, our venue partner in Sydney, and Ka-Fey in Newcastle. Both home to their respective supporters clubs there for New South Wales and Newcastle. And also thank you to the L Files, who are our media partners, and you can get all your Liverpool gear from there. And obviously you can see Reds Down Under stuff, but they also have a really good cycle of all the good news stories, or the good sourced news stories, should I say. And also Field to Anfield Road site, FOAR site in America. They've got blogs, and then he said vlogs, but they've got blogs, all match day blogs. They're really interesting. If you want to write for them, you just write, send it off to them, and as long as it's appropriate, they put it out there on their website. So they're really great, and they've been lovely with us so far. We've got lots of exciting stuff coming up on Reds Down Under. Loads of stuff, and I always deliver when I say that. We've got some special guests that we're hoping to get on in the near future. We're sort of working out the best way to do a chat community at the minute, because people keep mentioning chat communities. People want merch, so that's another thing we're working out at the moment. So there's loads happening, and we're gearing up as Liverpool gear down towards the end of the season. So do stay with us. As I say, it's been a tricky week to be a Red. It really has. And we made a post this week. I'm just going to pull the post up. Well, I made a post, and it was a picture of me, and I was topless. I'm sorry about that. Sorry, I'm just wrangling the technology. And I put up a picture saying buzzing after the Tottenham game, and I'm just going to read out some of the comments that people sent in. Oz Scouser said we're cooked. Yeah, you're not wrong. Jimmy Sondheim said Gakpo was shit most of match. We can't score, can't hold on to 1-0 leads. Searching for positives. Footy Social Club, who I think is an Arsenal fan, but the good friends of the pod now, give Slot a new deal. I think you can get out of here. Elijah said, definitely should have been 3 or 4 goals up, just wasted chances at the end. Positives, Rio played well. Yeah, you're right. There was moments in the game, mate. And Brandon said, kill me. I don't think he was being serious. I think he was being a little bit tongue-in-cheek. Reds, that is all we've got this week. Obviously, you've noticed I've been on my own this week. But next week, obviously, we've got the special. And then after that, we've still got more guests coming up. And we've got a couple of Aussie guests lined up now as well. So do stay with us. Let's hope this time next week we're through in the Champions League. And, you know, I won't, cough the whole way through a podcast like I have done today. Up the Reds.